Now, before Wayne was Wayne, he was playing hockey as a 14 or 15-year-old, and I said, we should do an interview with him. They said, well, he's pretty young. And I said, well, he's still a hockey player and he's a phenom. And they said, okay, see if you can get a hold of him. We brought him into the studio, and he came in and he was like a little boy looking around. He says, first time I've been in a television studio. And so we sat down and we did an interview, and somebody out there had a Polaroid camera and took a picture of it and sent it to me. And that's the only picture we have of that first time that he was on television.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, after that, we became friends, and I used to phone up whenever he was coming into town. I'd phone him and say, can we do an interview with you? He'd oblige every time. I don't know how many times we interviewed him. Anyway, what happened was that he scored 50 goals in 39 games, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I told him I had to do a story on him, so I flew out to Edmonton. The next day they were playing hockey again, and I was up in the gondola and watched the game, and then went down into the dressing room with the cameraman and did an interview with him and his coach and everybody else. The bugger hockey players, you know, some of them were just undressed and just walked behind.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So our cameraman zoomed in close, so.
Yeah, to avoid any.
Yeah. No. But anyway, it was great fun, and we had a good interview. And so after that, I went to his place in Brantford, where he was born, to talk to his father and mother. So I talked to them, spent an evening with them. They took one of the young guys to hockey. They were in rinks every night, you know. The girl was a figure skater, and the other two guys were playing hockey. So anyway, I did that story, and I still have a copy of that. It's another 6-minute, I call them mini documentaries. Mm-hmm. So that's what I ended up doing at Canada AM most of the time, was mini documentaries. So when they let me go, I was really upset, you know. When I lost that, Jack Ruddle had talked to me a number of times, and I turned him down. And so then in January I phoned up. Last time I talked to him, I think it was September. And then I came up and looked at Peterborough in November, and it was dull, and I said, "Gee, this is a dull-looking city. I'm not interested in coming here." So we said no, we weren't coming. So in January, my wife said, the best thing you do is you're not doing. And I said, what do you mean? She says, you should go back into radio or television. That's your job. I said, I don't know if I want to go to Peterborough. She says, you're going to Peterborough. We're going to sell and we're going away Peterborough. She's the one that got me up here. Anyway, that's what happened. We came up here, and my idea was I was going to stay for 3 years and then look for something. But I liked it here, so I stayed for 11, and then I retired.
And you're still here.
And I'm still here 30 years later.
Wow.
It's a nice community.
It is.
It was probably the best thing that ever happened. Yeah, I recall the place up on the hill. It was a great place. They built a new newsroom, which was state-of-the-art, in my opinion.
Mine too.
And it was great. The only thing that was wrong with it is that the transmitter was right beside it. And that transmitter had guy wires holding it up. And as a result, ice used to form on it in certain times of the year, and then they'd fall off, and ice would fall down onto the pavement and on to the entranceway. And they were the new people that bought the place, Power Corporation, were very anxious about that thing, if I can call it anxious. They were afraid that somebody would get hit with the ice, and sure as heck, John, one of the reporters, we used to have to wear hard hats going in and out when there was ice on the cables. And sure as heck, one day an ice came down and bopped him on the head.
Wow.
And Power said, "That's it, we're moving."
So one other thing we want to talk about is the state of the industry, right, today, because it has changed so much.
Well, it really has. From the day that I started in television till now, and I only watch now, but it's gone through such a rough cycle. I mean, I wouldn't want to work in television today, and unfortunately I have two sons working in television.
Oh, wow. But the one thing for me that I think has changed since, you were in the business, is one thing that you drilled into my head always, and I'll never forget this because at the time I did not like you for it, Wally, was editorializing. Everything I wrote, you would say, "Nope, that's editorializing. Nope, that's editorializing." And I think that's the most important thing I learned about journalism and broadcasting. And I think it's something that today is not, that people seem to have forgotten. Yeah. Almost everything we watch today or read seems to be editorializing.
Well, social media, eh? Everybody has an opinion, and the trouble is, you can find out faster from social media that's happening in the world than you can if you're unless you've got the best guys in the business that will leak the story.
Mm-hmm. But I want to get back to that. I mean, we need to have that distinction between social media and actual journalism.
Yeah, well, it's pretty tough. There are some very good journalists, but the old, we used to try to get the story, exclusive stories, and there's not much of that anymore. Well, after I retired at first, I went out and did some documentaries. I did a number of them. The biggest one was the history of Peterborough, and that was exciting because I learned a lot about Peterborough and all its history.